Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Talk of the Tribe podcast. We are at episode 4 already, and it's been a ride. I'm here with Zach Bavers. How you doing?
Yeah, we're 4 weeks in and 4 episodes in. We've covered a lot of things. We've gone from football to some just we had an episode where it was just me and you for a week, and we also had the Blake Boer episode, which that was a good episode too. But today we do have a live studio audience here for the Talk of the Tribe podcast. Yeah, so it's great to have these people out, and we're gonna get started. So before we get going into the interview today, just a recap. Media night is tonight. So
I love media night.
yeah, the volleyball, football, all the fall sports will be out there. As well as tonight, we also have the black and gold volleyball scrimmage tonight that Riker and I will be broadcasting. That will be on the Wapsie Valley Athletics YouTube page. But without further ado, our special guest for today is an upperclassman from the Wapsie Valley cross country team, Jaylin May.
Hey guys, what's up?
Not much. How are you?
I'm good.
Alrighty, so obviously cross country, you guys have started, you guys are about a weekend, correct, of cross country?
Couple weeks in, yeah.
So when is your guys' first meet?
Our first meet is like around the second week of school at Owen. I believe it's August 29th.
Yeah, August 29th. I believe I have a football game that day. But
You can't make it?
no, I can't. I wish I could because last year I don't know if I went to any cross country meets, but I do intend to go to a few this year. But yesterday I was in Reedland having a good old time at the ballpark, and I heard a rumor that did you guys drive to Waverly and then run all the way back to Reedland?
No, we were gonna run at Waverly and then run on the trail for a little bit, but then we ended up changing plans. But oh my goodness, that would be insane if we did.
So I know a lot of viewers that they watch football, they watch basketball, they watch wrestling, they watch volleyball, but cross country is one of the sports that I don't think gets a whole lot of media love per se. I mean, you don't see broadcasts of cross country every now and then. So what is a meet like for you guys?
A meet for us is like, I feel like it's very crowded. Like even though how you said that a lot of people don't really like get a lot of media attention for us, I feel like at the meets it does feel that way because there's just so many runners and so many like the parents go insane at meets and coaches are just screaming and stuff. Like even before we start, you could just see like everyone across the like golf course and stuff. Especially at the beginning of races, everyone's just lined up in their little boxes where we start, and just the parents and coaches and kids are just lined up at the very beginning. So like you can feel all of the like nerves and just everything gets you, but I feel like it still feels the same way as other sports would get like the media attention.
So is there like a certain format for that? Is it because I know with track you have the different races, you have the 400, you have the 100, you have the mile. Is it just one race or is there different types of races?
Usually they start with like a junior high race of junior highs there, and then they would start with JV girls and then JV boys and then varsity girls, varsity boys. So yeah, there are different races.
Is there like a distances for those certain grade levels?
Usually junior high is about mile and a half to 2 miles, and then high school is just 3 miles.
Yeah, so yeah, cross country is definitely not a sport that gets a ton of media attention. From obviously we don't broadcast cross country.
No.
But so you said that obviously a lot of people do go crazy for that. What's it like when you're just running along? Like how much of a pacing do you have to make it the 3 miles?
I get it just depends on the person for the pacing, like how far you want to push yourself, and like if it's the beginning of the season or the end of the season. But it's kind of nice because like how I said at the beginning, there's a lot of people, and at the end there's a lot of people. But kind of like in that middle area around the 2 mile mark, it's kind of just by yourself because everyone just spreads apart, like the runners wise, and like a lot of the parents meet up at the like main popular spots. So it's kind of nice just to have like that running like pace by yourself, so you can just focus on like your breathing and all that.
Yeah, it's definitely like I'd imagine it's just like a mental battle between your mind and your body because your body is telling you one thing that it needs to slow down because obviously you're running for a long time, but your mind, you're telling yourself you got to keep pushing, keep going forward. So how much of like a mental battle do you guys have to go through during that stretch where there's literally no one cheering you on?
It's a battle. It's a lot going on. Like even though there may not be a lot like around you, just like your brain, how like you said, is just crazy because you might feel pain, but you know you have to keep going because you don't want to stop. Because if you stop and try to walk, it's just gonna be worse to try and keep back, like start over again. You know, so you just have to keep pushing through no matter what the circumstances are.
Yeah, that I gotcha. So you do cross country, you do track. What runs do you do in track usually?
I run the 100-meter dash, the 4x1, 4x2, and sprint medley.
So you do sprints and track and cross country. You're all around athlete.
Yup.
Yeah, well versed distance and sprints. So what's now we talked about kind of how our cross country meet is structured. Again, track gets a little bit more of a media attention. Obviously, the Drake relays and the state meets, they are publicly televised by PBS. But what's the difference between a track meet and a cross country meet?
Track meets obviously take way longer than cross country meets. It's and the weather wise, I feel like the weather is more like nicer during cross country because it's like right when summer's ending, and during track, there's just more people all around because like you said, it gets more media attention, and there's more events because cross country is just like here run a mile and a half or run 3 miles. But track, there's like the 400, and then there's field events like long jump, high jump, and just like there's a different variety because like even though some people may not run, they still might throw, so then you still want to go watch them. So I feel like yeah, you're right about the media attention, but yeah.
And I know with something with track that I've learned from being in track for a few years, when you have a race in the beginning or you have a race at the end and that stretch of time that you really just don't have anything, it's really hard to get stretched out again, and that also depends on weather. Especially when we get into the later of the season, it gets colder. It's really hard to get stretched and loosened back out again, which that increases the possibility of injuries. So how do you deal with that?
I'd say for my events, usually we start with sprint meds. That's the very first race that I do, and then like 3 races later, it's like the 100-meter dash. So like during that time, I like after my sprint med, I do like some cool down stretches after I just ran. Then I like walk around for a little bit and then re-stretch. That way, I'm just always loose and not trying to get tight at all. Then after the 100-meter dash, I usually that's the biggest gap I'd say between the 100-meter dash and the 4x2. And then I just always walk around. I'm always up moving. I try not to sit down at all because I know that's really bad for you. And then after the 4x2, then I go to the 4x1, which is the second to last race. So I just
Yeah.
like try to keep that pattern going.
Yeah, the 4x1 is always at like the very end of the meet, so it's like late at night.
Cold because the sun goes down.
Yeah,
Under
how do
the
you how do you
lights.
guys deal with the conditions? Because obviously some conditions are controlled. With football, you can play indoors. Baseball, you can play indoors. All these other stuff, you can play indoors. And I mean, there is indoor track, but when it is outdoor, you have to deal with the elements. How do you guys deal with that?
Obviously we bring like stocking hats and coats and all that. Sometimes we bring like hand warmers or foot warmers. We just gotta try keep our muscles going at all times and like try not to get numb because that's the worst thing possible. And even when they do cancel meets, it's like such just so sad because we can't go run. That's the point why we're there, you know. But yeah.
We talked about how to prevent injuries, but I was informed that late last year you did get an injury.
Yes, I did get an injury. I haven't. It was like around April, and I haven't been doing like I haven't practiced long jump. And
Hmm.
I did do long jump in the years past, and I haven't really been practicing it. And then I just did it like one Monday coming in at O1, and it was like I can't remember what week it was, but I did it, and I was just doing my 3 jumps, and I felt perfectly fine. Then I went out to go run sprint med, felt perfectly fine. Ran 200-meter dash, won that whole thing, ran perfectly fine, and then 4x1 came. I think it just took a while for my muscles to like realize, like catch up with myself on what I was doing.
Yeah.
So then I started like warming up for the 4x1. I was trying to hand off to Peyton. I was like, wait, something's not right. And then Mr. Foster came over. He was like, Jaylin, what's going on? I was like, I have no idea. I just know my hip hurts. And then so I didn't run the 4x1 that night at O1. So I talked to our trainer, and she helped me. She's like, we just need to get you ready for Drake relays because that was that weekend. So I was just trying to like do everything I could to get ready for Drake relays. Then I ended up running at Drake, and then I was doing really good until about the 80-meter mark there at the Blue Oval, and then my hip just like gave out, and then I like lost a couple of seconds trying to hand off to Peyton because it just hurt so bad. So then I was out the rest of the track season, about halfway of softball season, but I'm all better now, and my doctor told me that like there's always a possibility, it's always vulnerable to get injured again, so I have to be careful, but all good now, so hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah, and I know that especially that stretch of time when you have that kind of tightness or soreness, and you're trying to get to the weekend where the big race is at Drake. And I know some of us have been through injuries, and I know some people know what it's like to kind of sit that out. How much of a how bad did it feel that you had to sit out kind of the first half of softball season? Because you didn't play. You kind of eased your way back into it, getting pinch running opportunities and all that kind of stuff. But what was it? What was that feeling when you finally got back out onto the field for the first time?
It felt like I was back home because softball is my favorite sport. I just always grown up with softball. I played ever since I was like little. So just softball, just getting back on that field because center field, like just the outfield in general, is my home. So once I touched that grass out there, I felt like back to normal instead of just sitting there in the dugout and just. It's good to cheer on my teammates and like motivate them and stuff, but sometimes you just miss those things that you do like all the time. So it just felt good to get back out there.
Yeah, and obviously we were on the call for a few. I should say a few because it was only like 4 games that
We
summer.
were on the call for most of them, but
We just
most
didn't.
of them didn't work.
Yeah. So, and the stretch that we didn't broadcast was like the big stretch where you guys were on like a 13-game win streak. Like won 2 straight tournaments. You went to Lisbon, knocked off the number 2 team in the state, came back, knocked off the number 3 team in the state. It was just bang, bang, bang. So what was that kind of like that you guys knew you were playing your best softball at the best time, and you guys were just rolling?
It was crazy. I remember we got to that Jessup tournament and we're like, guys, we have to make it further than we did last year because I remember the year before we won a game and then we lost the second round, so we were in the consolation bracket. But this year we came in, we played Don Bosco, beat them, and then we had realized we had to play. I can't remember who it was, but we knocked them down. There's like the number 8 seeded team, and then we had to play Lisbon in championships. We're like, guys, we made it this far. We can't lose. We just have to go for it all. And then we ended up beating them, and it was like slightly raining too. I don't know why I remember that, but yeah. And then we ended up beating them like 4-0 or 4-1, something like that. And it was just crazy. That really bumped up our self confidence, just as an individual and as a team as well. And just you can tell all around that like we were like, okay, guys, we can actually do this. We can beat the big teams, even though we're tiny Wapsie Valley. We can just come at them strong and as hard as we can.
Yeah, and I know some of the losses that you guys did had. Sumner Fred Tripola. That was a game where that was the first game was just back and forth like the
It's a good
whole
game.
time. L.A. Voy had the big home run, but the pitching kind of fell off towards the end of that game, and you guys had 2 really good pitchers. I think Taylor Boer and Peyton Curley or Anna Curley, yes. Sorry, wrong name. Were phenomenal. I mean, I think Anna led the team in strikeouts with like 130. Like
Huh.
that is just
Yeah,
insane.
we have really good pitchers.
Yeah, for a two-pitcher duo, and the difference is, and we talked about this too. The pitchers in softball can pitch more mainly because of the arm angle. In baseball, you're throwing down to the plate. It wears and tears on your shoulder and your rotator cuff.
It hurts really bad when you go 7, 8 innings in a row.
Yeah, but softball pitchers can pitch 8 innings one day, come back, pitch 7 innings the next day, because it's a lot less of a tear on your arm. So how do you guys deal with that kind of? Because that loss at Sumner Fred Tripola, you guys were on a 12-game win streak at that point. You come back home, you guys get beat at home, which doesn't happen a whole lot. But how are you guys able to deal with that?
With the losses and they come back strong. I'd say like we always have our ups and downs, and our coach Austin Jeans always says that we learn more from our losses than our wins, which says a lot about how we compete and things like that. So I feel like even though we were all pumped up about that big winning streak that we had, like 13, whatever you said, and then we always realize that we have to lose a couple because we always have our bad days and things just always happen. There's always accidents or just we just don't feel good those days. But then we realized that, like, okay, guys, it's almost postseason. We have to grind. We have to get this down because, you know, it's the end of the season. It's either, like, we go for it or we don't. So I think with that mentality, we, like, did really good until the end.
Yeah, I know you guys made it to the semifinals of the Region 2, or sorry, 2A Region 6 against South Winneshiek. And that game by itself was a fantastic game. I mean, we were calling that game. Taylor Boer had the big home run in the 5th inning, and
That was a shot.
yeah, we recalled that. I think we both thought that was going to be it. I think
Yep.
we thought that was kind of that because you guys went up by 3 at that point. Southwind looked like they just couldn't find a roll, and then all of a sudden in the 7th inning, communication errors. And I know you guys practice communication a lot, but as an outfielder and you guys see 3 people just converging on the ball, how much do you guys practice communication?
A lot. We practice it all the time, especially just like it's softball. So like when the ball's in the air, you can see a little bit around you, but you're focused more on the ball. So just communication is key because you don't want those collisions happening or just the ball falling to the ground either because then that's just a free runner on base, you know. So communication is very important.
Yeah, and how do you? I know with that big game, you guys had two playoff games, one against Denver and one against Southwind. How do you guys deal with the nerves of those big playoff games?
In my mind, I just say to myself, it's just another game. We've played Denver before. Like, it's just like how we did early in the season when we played them. So I just have to like keep that mentality. Like, there's nothing to be worried about. I know these players. I know like what they do, what like they're gonna do on this play and that play. So I just have to make sure I just like keep myself calm because I know I'm gonna get nervous whenever I do something out on that field. I just have to make sure that I breathe and like keep that mentality.
Yeah, and towards softball season, there's different types of hitters. I know you're a hitter too. So in baseball, you have your power hitters, you have your contact hitters, but there's a new little addition in softball. It's called the slap hitter. The slap hitter. You and Peyton Curley are really good at it. The bunts, the slap hits, just insane. So how does that angle? Because I know when we watch it, it seems like the second that pitch is being thrown, you guys are already running to first base. You just tap it and run.
You guys are really fast too.
Thanks. Yeah, that's kind of the key because Peyton was a right-handed hitter, but then she wanted to try something new, so then she tried slapping. And I guess with our speed, like when you're slap hitting on the left side, you already get like that 2-3 like stride advantage to first base, which really helps, especially when our coach gives us like the slap hit sign. You can see like where the field is playing and like which like gaps are open. So that's really nice too because you can like hit it right there and then like boom, you're already on first base.
Yeah, because I mean the bases are shorter than in baseball.
Yep.
Baseball it's 90 feet, softball it's 60 feet. So it's a lot. You can get to first base a lot quicker. And well, another thing is the mounds are closer. In baseball, it's 60 feet 6 inches. In softball, I believe it's 50 feet.
You did your homework.
But how do you guys deal with that pitcher being closer and plus that different arm angle?
Well, I guess since like we don't play baseball, we don't really like notice. I guess we just grown up with it, but I can tell like I can feel like the distance wise that it's really close, and especially I don't know. I just kind of wanted to bring this up when I'm on second base. I like the pitcher's like right in my way of home plate. I guess that is for baseball too, but like you kind of have to like get that weird angle to try and figure out like when the pitch is being released, so you don't accidentally get called out for leaving early.
Yeah. I think this is where we get into our first segment. It's my personal favorite segment. So we're gonna have you pull out your phone.
You have a lot of personal favorite segments.
Well,
by the way.
okay. I haven't decided yet. We're only on episode 4.
We have 5 different segments. Pick one, say it's your personal favorite, and stamp it. All right?
I'm confident that this is my favorite. Okay, so I'm gonna have you. Actually, I think all 3 of us are gonna do it because this is fun. We're gonna have you go onto your settings, look on your screen time.
Oh my gosh.
I have the record on I think 7 hours 41 minutes.
Yeah, 7 hours 41 minutes. That was episode 1, by the way.
That's almost impressive.
So it's screen time from yesterday,
Go
not
to
today.
yesterday.
Yesterday? Okay.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad.
What
Why
is
are you guys
it?
doing this? My screen time from yesterday, 7 hours and 20 minutes.
Okay, so at least you didn't break the all-time record. He still holds it. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Mine is 4 hours and 34 minutes.
Can we extend the record?
No,
Because I
this
just
is
checked
not good.
mine. 10 hours 34 minutes.
No, from yesterday?
From yesterday.
What are you doing?
See, I'm like not on my phone a lot during the day, but like when I go to bed, I'm like, okay, I need to like catch up on my shows, so that's when I go on.
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys right now. The second school starts, it's gonna plummet. So, because
Yeah,
we'll be
for
at
sure.
school all day. So
Yesterday I didn't have anything to do. I think all day I was just on my phone texting people.
you were networking, getting the podcast out. You know, networking.
Yeah.
We gotta network.
We'll go with that.
We're talking to people. We gotta find people to get on the podcast. We're struggling, but so you wanna lead them into the next one?
The next segment is one of my Nope, it is not actually one of my personal favorites. It is a segment, but it's called Scenario. We've been doing the same ones the last few episodes, but I think we're gonna keep going on that because I need ideas. So imagine you're gonna drive. I don't know if you drive yet.
Yeah, I do.
You do. So you're gonna drive to LA. That's really long.
That's a
You're
long
driving to a
drive.
Taylor Swift concert.
Okay.
Oh, whoa. Don't get her too excited. Don't get her too excited. So you're going to LA we'll go with the Taylor Swift concert, and you stop by Quick Star, and you need to get 3 things. What 3 things are you going to get?
Water, a snack,
What you more
What's a
specific?
snack?
More specific, yeah.
probably like Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its, yep, I like it.
It's our softball quote, and plus Cheez-Its are good.
Water, Cheez-Its, maybe a dessert.
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't.
No, you gotta eat healthy, Riker.
Strawberries,
Gotta
grapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get some strawberries because you gotta like get hydrated before Taylor Swift before I scream my heart out.
If you want to hear what Riker and I have to say on that, is that's back in episode 1, I believe, with Blake Brewer.
I think so.
We'll do it again. We'll do it probably here in a few episodes just to give you a refresher on.
Do we want to do another scenario? These are fun. I just gotta say, these are really fun.
All right, do it.
The last one is you're gonna be on an island. I'm sure you heard this one before. You're on an island. You get 3 things. What are you gonna get?
Tent.
A tent?
So we already have a
Oh,
strategy.
shoot.
We already have a strategy.
Yep.
Okay.
Hang on, wait. Scratch the tent.
Okay. We're
I'm
back
gonna-
on the strategy.
Okay. Food, water, and then
No. Specifics.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Food is too
Can't
vague.
you just gonna have the word food on your island?
Okay. Steak dinner, water,
I like it. Yep.
and a lighter.
A lighter.
There you
So you're
go.
just gonna live
so,
on the island.
So we have a strategy. She's gonna live there. It's not like Blake who decided to grab a boat and leave.
Yeah,
so,
he
Oh,
just-
that's what he did.
He
yeah,
just spawned a boat.
I think he picked like a boat, gas, and
Yeah.
water.
What's he gonna use the gas for? For the fire?
No, for the boat.
Oh, it's an electric boat.
You're just gonna get there within an hour.
A little wooden boat. You're just gonna go sail off.
Yeah. But so back to the sports. You also play basketball. So obviously we're getting into the basketball year. It's a few months out, but how do you prepare yourself for a new sport, a new season?
I spend a lot of my time during the summer playing basketball in my driveway because we do have a basketball hoop. So I try to go out there almost every day, no matter what like sports
There you
season
go.
it is. Try and get some shots up because I can't lose my form, and I really do love basketball. So I just have to, and I try to work on some new drills and just things to help me like improve. And I do have a problem of keeping my eyes down on the court, and I need to learn how to like scan the court and keep my eyes up to see like the openings for my posts and just like the wings and stuff as a team. So I'm trying to work on that as well too.
Yeah, because you're a point guard, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to kind of scan the court, make sure look for guys who are open. So I know we'll be doing most of the girls basketball this year.
Yep.
Or
What we can get to, yeah.
yeah,
we
and
should be getting there a
if
lot.
our broadcasting equipment lets us. But
Let's hope so.
yeah, we will be doing most of the sports calling over the winter with basketball as well as wrestling, and I mean you're doing football here in a few weeks. Next
Yeah.
week's the first game, so
Woo.
we got Jessup coming up for Wapsie Valley football. I think we're going to. There's a scrimmage tomorrow at Hudson. That won't be broadcasted, but it's happening. So if you want to come out to media night, come on out. You can talk to everyone, ask some questions, get to know the players a little bit. I know we'll both be there, and then we hope you tune in for the black and gold volleyball scrimmage tonight. So any last words?
Thank you guys for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Of course.
Yeah. So that was Jaylin May, upperclassman of Wapsie Valley cross country, and we'll get back to our thing here. So, what do you expect from the volleyball broadcast tonight?
The volleyball broadcast, I really hope it works. That's my number one thing on my mind right now is I hope it works.
Yeah, and I know we're looking at a newer team. We
yeah.
had a few people graduate.
More than a few.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But it's gonna be new. We're a little bit of a younger team, so
For sure.
it'll be interesting to see what
Same
what-
with football. We're a younger team.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Coach Austin Shepard brings to the table tonight. And I think what we're going to get a look at tonight from broadcasting it will be a telltale sign for what it's going to be like going forward.
Yep.
And I do see a lot of potential in this team as well.
For sure.
A lot of the younger guys have gotten a lot of reps, as well as this is kind of going to be their warm-up game for
Yep.
the season.
Yep.
So we plan to have some more guests in the upcoming weeks as well.
Jaylin just asked us if she wanted it. Well, she wanted to be on it, and she asked us, and we're like, sure, we can find time. So if you ever want to be on it, maybe we can, get you on it.
Yeah, if you got a good story to tell, and it's something that you want to speak out to the tribe here for the Talk of the Tribe, let us know. See if we can get you on. I've had a few people reach out. We got some.
Yeah.
We got a list of guys that we want to get on soon, and Right now, we're kind of in this little dead area. There's not a lot of sports going on. We're waiting for football to start.
Yep.
By the way, when football does start, we will be bringing weekly recaps of every game in case you missed it. So be on the lookout for that too. But we are ready for the seasons to start.
Yeah,
Sports
for
season,
sure.
cross country, football, all that kind of stuff. But it's gonna be a good fall, and we're hoping for
I'm excited for it.
yeah, we're hoping for some good broadcasts coming your way. So that'll be all for us here on the Talk of the Tribe podcast. This is episode 4
Yep.
of the Talk of the Tribe podcast. And until next time,
Go Warriors!